Welcome to the 2022 Top 10 of G.I. Joe Classified list on the way I got it figured.
The way I got it figured.
Alright, here are your honorable mentions for 2022 G.I. Joe Classified line. Dr. Mindbender, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Croc Master, Battle Android Trooper, Tiger Force Duke and Ram, and Crimson Guardsman. All of these, for various reasons, I liked a lot, but didn't feel like they made it to the top 10. Where Dr. Mindbender is concerned, it's more because he's just a straight 1986 figure made into a classified figure. Croc Master, you could probably say the same thing about him, but he probably would have made the list if it wasn't that the way they designed his boots, he doesn't stand up that great without Fiona. The Bat, well, I feel like the 80,000 reuses of it already has sort of just watered it down a little bit. It's a fantastic figure. Duke, the redeco on Duke and Tiger Force colors on that kit is surprisingly good. I mean, it looked better to me than advertised. And then finally the Crimson Guardsman, who other than his weapon is a nice homage to the original figure. There's not really a lot you can do with it. I would say the same thing about Dr. Mindbender, where you're going to change. So, yeah, they're obviously necessary inclusions into the line, but because they're straight redos, I mean, you can say all of these guys are exact redos of figures from almost 40 years ago. Yet, they're very well done, and so, at least in consideration for being on the list. So that's my honorable mentions. Alright, number 10 on our list is the evil twin brothers, Tomax and Zaymot. I have them on the list, and they are low on the list, but the reason for that is really mainly they're low on accessories. They look like, you know, large versions of the 1985 figures, with the exception that they have extra knives instead of extra pistols. I would prefer extra pistols, but they, you know, there's not a whole lot you can do with the outfit to update them. So obviously, by that same token, you know, they're good for what they are, updated versions of the old 1985 figures. So for that reason, they're number 10. Number 9 is Snake Eyes from the Snake Eyes and Timber 2-pack. This figure is basically a repaint of 02 Snake Eyes, 00 Snake Eyes, with the slight change of combat boots rather than ninja tabby boots, which is a nice change. Not that I mind the tabby boots, I just like that this one is kind of doing the ninja commando thing a little bit better. Not that I've ever had a problem with the 02 mold. It's, you know, it's Snake Eyes, it's a great mold. Hopefully this is the last use of this figure. They'll do a new version of Snake Eyes at some point, but for what it is, it looks really nice with the contrasting colors. The posability is on point. There's no loose ab crunch like you would get on earlier versions. So it's kind of a tweaked and repaired sort of version of Snake Eyes. So yeah, that's why he's going to be number 9 on the list. Number 8 on our list is the Alley Viper. The Alley Viper is one of the earliest releases of the year, alongside the Bat and the Revision Gung-Ho. The Bat is definitely a figure worthy of consideration for the top 10 list, but I have a lot of figures to consider, and I made my list. This is the guy over the Bat. I do have a lot of sentimental attachment to this figure, as I mentioned in the video that I did a few months ago on it. But he's mostly an update to the 1989 figure, with some with some changes. It's just a modernized version, which is what I like to see most out of G.I. Joe Classified, when they don't adhere 100% to a figure that I had 30 years ago. When they do something to make it's that figure, it's that character, but it's contemporary. And so I think they did a really good job with that, with the Bat. So he is the Alley Viper. So the Alley Viper is number 8 on the list. For number 7, we have RetroCardgungho. RetroCardgungho is doing a lot for a repaint, minor retool. You're getting a lot for that. Of course, he is evocative of the 1983 original version of Gung-Ho. This is the Gung-Ho many of us thought we should have gotten in the beginning, updated, but still the character you know and love. They gave him his classic grenade launcher. They gave him his classic Marine cap, changed his vest, changed the tattoo, which is still not a Marine Corps tattoo, but the size of it and the blueness of it, it makes him look close enough to the original character that he just has a much better aesthetic. They changed his head, so they changed the head sculpt to a degree to change the mustache and give him a bald head. And so this is the Gung-Ho that I think best represents the character. And so I'm much more happy to have him in my collection. So he's number 7. All right, for number 6, we're going with Sergeant Slaughter. The fact that he's number 6 isn't any kind of slight on the figure or the character. Sergeant Slaughter is awesome, and this figure captures him, pretty much perfectly. So, the great things about this figure, you get multiple hands. This time I went with the grappler, Sergeant Slaughter, the hat, the glasses that stay on his head. That's pretty good. The action figure, there's only one thing about this figure that they've done that I didn't like, which was give him an AK-47 style weapon, but I'm not gonna knock him for that. You can always use weapons from other figures or even other lines if you need to. One thing that I want to get this year is the Drill Sergeant pack from Gridiron Studios, to give him a belt and have a little bit more combat type look for him. In G.I. Joe issue 51, I want to say, with the Thunder Machine, maybe 53. Sorry, my exact number recollection is failing me at the moment, but in that issue, he had some sort of combat gear strapped on as he chased after the Thunder Machine, and I always liked that look, and so I'm kind of gonna do that for him on here. But he is number 6. right, we've reached the halfway point. At number 5, we've got Storm Shadow. I might get excoriated for Storm Shadow not being higher on the list. I definitely think, or thought when he came out, that he was going to be very tough to beat to be number 1. But there were subsequent figures after him, and I just feel like some of them were higher. One of them, of course, was one of his wave mates. So, you know, but again, where he's sitting on the list isn't indicative of how good the figure is. The figure is phenomenal. Here I have him with the Master of Disguise Zartan bow. It matches him well and it looks better, in my opinion. But other than that, you know, it's all his accessories. So, yeah, Storm Shadow. The only way we're going to get a better one is probably with the retro card version. This is, again, a more updated, modern take on the classic character. It's not exactly the one that we thought we were going to get with the tattoos and stuff from the G.I. Joe mobile game. It's a nice middle ground compromise. And he is number 5 on our list. At number 4, we've got one of the original Joes, Stalker. This was a figure I was much anticipating, and he definitely delivered the goods. So Stalker is on this list for a couple of reasons. One, I do love the character. When I was a kid, you know, everybody was buying me Stalkers for Christmas, so I had multiple Stalkers. But you know, his place in the fiction and all that all plays into it. But another big part of why I like this figure and why he's one of my favorites is that he sets up the other original Joes. We already know that the retro card Snake Eyes is going to be on this same body. The Grunt is a name dropped figure that's probably going to be on this body. You know, you got out of 13 Joes, really just 3 of them wouldn't, you know, pretty much just straight use this body. Some of it would be accessory differences. So like Zap, Short Fuse would have a different harness hookup, belt hookup, but same outfit otherwise. Only Grand Slam and Flash would need a different body pretty much altogether. So yeah, so it sets up the original Joes. And in any G.I. Joe collection that I undertake, I always sort of get all the original Joes. So Stalker being the first one to get this body is appropriate, but he also sets up what's to come, and I am here for it. So he's number 5. At number 3, we've got Tiger Force Outback. Tiger Force Outback was a figure that I said I wasn't going to get, but when I saw him in the store, I just couldn't resist. And I'm glad that I couldn't resist because he's awesome. He's just a beautiful figure. Nice accessories. He's, you know, for me, a preview of the regular Outback that'll be out sometime early this year. I mean, while it's a variant look for him, I'm impressed with the figure. He just looks nice, and the guts and bones of the figure are nice. So, you know, this probably would have been, without him, that probably would have been on the list. Maybe Crocmaster, but as it is, Outback, and he's coming in at number 3. Number 2, Spirit. I just think this is a excellently executed figure. Spirit, you know, he was a colorful figure even back in the 80s. He's one of the figures that I acquired this year for the 25th anniversary line, carded, and I was, you know, happy to get it then. So I actually bought 2 Spirits this year, not this one, but you know, that 25th anniversary one again. And he's just a great looking figure, great looking character. You know, they've done such a great job with these figures. I don't have Spirit, I mean, I don't have Freedom here, but he's a part of it too. The fact that you can rest the backpack on him and have Freedom be on there and he'll still stand. They just did a phenomenal job with this figure. I was torn between who was going to be 3, 2, and 4, which is, you know, Stalker, Outback, and Spirit. And I feel like Spirit's the guy to be number 2. So yeah. And no prizes for who's next. At number 1, we have the HasCon exclusive Serpentor. Serpentor comes with his air chariot, which just for the purposes of this video, I didn't want to trot that out. I'm not sure if it would fit on my turntable, but he's number 1 by, you know, pretty far. Is he a perfect figure? No, but he is pretty much perfect. And also, once again, he does follow my preferred thing of have it be evocative of a figure's past, but also be updated and not necessarily be a slavish 6-inch version of a 40-year-old figure. So he's definitely not doing that. They made some changes to him, but kept what makes that figure pop. And then just from a production standpoint, the cloth goods cape with scales. I mean, who else is doing that right now in the mainstream toy market? No one. And you know, it gives me hope for, you know, what they'll do this year and following years. I mean, the G.I. Joe Classified team really hit this line out of the park. And for that reason, you know, I have to say probably G.I. Joe Classified is my favorite toy line of the year. You know, I'm a Transformers guy first and foremost. But as I stated in my as I stated in my Marvel Legends review of 2022, there are very few things that I buy twice. Very few figures that I buy twice that aren't army builders. I'm not really big into army building, but I do some. It's not something I don't do. But where G.I. Joe Classified differs is I had to sell my figures, so I sold my collection. And then I just went right back to rebuilding it. So not only did I buy G.I. Joe Classified figures twice, I started an entire collection twice in the same calendar year in 2022. When I saw this figure, when I saw it was coming and as details came out, I mean, there was just no way. I don't even understand why you even have any G.I. Joe Classified figures if you don't feel like you need to have this in your collection. I just don't. So, yeah. Can't say enough about him. I could probably go on for more minutes, but the fact remains, Serpentor is the number 1 G.I. Joe Classified figure of the year. So there you have my top 10 G.I. Joe classified figure list for 2022. I want to thank everybody for watching this video. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button. And if you've been watching, I want to thank you for your continued support. The next top 10 video will be my top 10 Transformers for 2022. And following that, I'll be doing a top 10 overall just toys for 2022. Some of these guys you may see again in that video. Until then, everybody stay safe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.